Hey there. I got really charged up this morning thinking about some stuff. So I'm going to see if I can do this in 8 minutes or less. It's kind of a health rant. So I worked in the healthcare field for probably maybe 15 years or more. And what I've come to learn is it's really not healthcare. It's called sick care. So I want to talk about some myths and beliefs we have about health that will actually steer us down the wrong road. So the first one is that, and it's really indicative when you look at the healthcare system, what I call the sick care system. Most of the money goes to, well, a big part of the budget goes to pharmacare, which is drugs, many of which are synthetic. The second thing is it's goes to working with sick people. So if you go to your doctor and you say something doesn't feel right and they do some tests and they don't find anything, they'll say you're fine. And you'll go home thinking you're fine. Two things wrong with that approach. One is if your body's saying something's not right, something's not right. If your doctor's saying there's nothing wrong, it's because they're trained to look for disease. They're trained to look for illness. By the time the doctor notices something, you're already well into disease progression. Otherwise, they don't know how to recognize it. They're not trained in that. Western medical system is great if you have to fix bones or cut something out, or address something when you're really sick, and I have queries about that too, but that's a whole other topic. The other thing is, if you look at Eastern medicine, when you're not feeling well, Eastern medicine, most of those traditions will have a whole bunch of questions about it. They'll say, what about this? What about that? What about this? When I first went to a Chinese medical person, they asked me how I was sleeping, what time I woke up was significant, because in the Chinese system, your organs are operating at different times of the day, so it gives you a hint about what might be out of balance. The Eastern system is focused on health promotion and disease prevention. The healthcare system that we have today spends very little, if anything, on health promotion and very little on disease prevention. You have a Center for Disease Control. Notice the word control. When there's a disease, they'll want to impact it. The most things they would do around prevention would maybe be flu shots. So you can see that the Western medicine, it has its place. It has its place. I'm not arguing against that. However, if you want to be healthy, stay healthy, or even optimize your health, the Western medical system is not the place to be going. The place to be going is Eastern medicine, because they focus on finding balance and harmony and putting things into balance so that you won't have an ongoing imbalance that then leads to disease. So when people say healthcare system, I always hear in my brain sick care system. We can't confuse those two. Health care means protecting, promoting, optimizing your health. It's very different than managing illness. The other thing that we've been trained to learn and believe is that we go to address our health when we have symptoms. And we hope that whatever it is that the symptom is, that someone can make the symptom go away and fix it, and preferably a quick fix. So if you have a condition that has been imbalanced for some time, to expect something quickly to reverse that development is naive. So when I work with oils, if you have symptom A and then symptom B, C, D, E, F, F becoming more egregious, more difficult symptoms, more serious, hard to ignore symptoms, and you start using oils, you're not going to see all of those symptoms go away at once. You're going to see them unravel in the reverse direction in which they happened. So symptom F is the one that's most present. That one will be the first to go. And it will take some time, and it takes some dedication. It's like people going out and buying a lotto ticket because they want a quick win, instead of putting a little bit of money aside every month, putting it towards something that feeds off compound interest. It's not as sexy, it's not a big change, but it's the one that works. So I approach essential oils as contributions to my optimal health, contributions to promoting my health, contributions to preventing illness. And I do it as a daily practice, little bit by little bit. And the cumulative impact is I feel great. So, quick fix. I've had people where they've had an issue. I've given them a blend of oils to try. They try it for 3 days. Oh, it doesn't work. Well, come on, give it some time. Be patient. You're not going to be able to reverse something it was someone who I knew who had some nerve damage based on a series of things that had happened to them, and gave them oils specifically for nerve regeneration. Nerves take a long time to heal. Nerves that are damaged take a long time to repair and set out new nerve pathways. It doesn't happen overnight. And so to write off the effectiveness of oils with 3 days of trying is really not giving it its due. 5 minutes. I got 3 minutes left. Okay, let's go fast. A lot of people think that if I eat healthy foods, I'll be healthy. Well, there's a fallacy in that as well, because we are now living in, I don't know how many decades since agribusiness and agricultural industry became an industry where we have pesticides, Roundup, Monsanto, glyphosates added to our crops, the foods that we then later ingest that are toxic. And they're using those pesticides so that they can grow more, grow faster, grow bigger, grow better, make more money, and denying the fact that it's going to have an impact on the food that we eat, and it's going to affect our health, and it's going to affect the soil. So we have soil depletion. We have the same food now versus 30 years ago is not going to have the same level of enzyme activity, the same kinds of phytonutrients. They just aren't as densely nutritionally packed. Then also take into account that the food system relies on picking early and transporting and things ripening as they transport. Well, think about that. If they're attached to the tree and they're still getting nutrients from the soil and the sun and they're part of that tree, they're going to have a lot more nutrients when they ripen versus being picked not ripe and ripening on the truck as it travels from, I have South African grapefruits or, Californian. So just eating healthy food really, I think, is insufficient these days. And I think it's why a lot of people have different issues happening with their gut and their immunity. Which brings me to my next point, bacteria. Bacteria get a bad rap, but they're finding more and more with research that bacteria are responsible for thousands of functions in our body and rely on them. So gut bacteria, for example, gut biome, they're actually in the Western system, they're actually transplanting fecal matter so that people can get gut biome material to heal their gut. So I am a strong believer in supplements, and I'm a strong believer in digestive enzymes and probiotics, and particularly with the flood of antibiotics in our system, it kills good and bad bacteria in the gut. And how is it going to be replenished? And I know a lot of people say, oh, I just have yogurt, but I just saw recently Yoplait was sued. There was a class action suit that it didn't even have the yogurt and the lactobacillus, the bacteria that they were claiming was in the yogurt wasn't in the yogurt. So personally, I use doTERRA supplements, but I do think digestive enzymes and probiotics, in addition to vitamins and minerals and fatty acids, as a supplement to our food system as it is today, is a good thing. The other thing that drives me crazy is when people talk about health and they are really meaning the physical body. Well, we are holistic beings. We have emotional health, mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. By spiritual health, I just mean that we feel like we have meaning, our life has meaning, and we have purpose. Simple as that. Emotional health, mental health, and physical health, they're connected. So if you're eating really bad food, it can in fact affect your mood. It can in fact affect your mental well-being. And one of the things I love about the oils is that they impact all parts of the whole being. The oils are holistic, just like we are. You can smell the oil and shift your mood, shift what's possible in your mental mindset, because your mood has shifted from limitation to possibility. And then you can put that oil on your body, and it actually helps with cellular messaging or signaling, or it soothes skin that's been irritated. It addresses all aspects of the being. And you might just be choosing, oh, I want to help my physical body, but then you smell it and it's like, oh my God, that smells amazing. It's holistic, like we are. And to have a healthcare system primarily focused on the body, or a totally separate area called mental health services, is a limited view. I remember the nutritionists of BC put out a report, and this was probably 10 years ago, basically bringing to the attention of mental health practitioners, and particularly doctors who are able to prescribe mental health medication, that they needed to be letting their clients know that as a result of this medication, there was a nutritional defect happening, that this medication would take some of the nutrition that the body needs, and then therefore, while you're on that medication, you need to be supplementing your body with certain nutrients and supplements. So, but those connections aren't really well recognized because everything is so dissected and separate. It's sort of like people taking a cadaver and dissecting it to take things apart and look at them. It's kind of the Western way. And you can say I'm being reductionistic, that's okay too. But this is a thought that I've been having recently. Now there's a fellow who does dissections, and he actually dissects so that he can show the connections, and he shows how the connective tissue that runs through the whole body, through the muscle, around the organs, is actually can start in the big toe and go all the way to the tongue. So if you get an injury here, it's going to affect that whole myofascial line. That connective tissue will be impacted. So you have an injury here and you feel it in your other hip, it's connected. And I think looking at connections and balancing those connections, like Chinese medicine does, like Ayurvedic medicine does, is a way to support and promote your health so that you don't end up getting to the place where you're going to Western medicine and you're in a disease state now that's going to be more difficult to reverse. So there's my rant for today on health. Hope you like it. Bye for now.